Hello, what's happening, guys? Welcome to another exciting webinar interview for the School of Growth Hacking. I'm super excited because I'm going to have an amazing session today with my new friend, Jonathan Foltz. He's the co-founder of the Collective, which is an AI mastermind community for entrepreneurs, CEOs, some of the top Fortune 500 CEOs in the world, basically. And we're going to have an amazing discussion today. I'm just waiting for Jonathan to join me on the live. Jonathan, are you there? Are you able to join the live? Give me a second, guys. So Jonathan today is actually joining us from Miami, where he's based. And I'm calling from Istanbul myself. Hey, Jonathan, how are you? Welcome to the live. Is your mic on? Oh, okay. I think I got you now.
There we go. What is up?
How are you doing today, my friend?
Doing great. How are you doing? How's everything? Great to be here, brother.
Yeah, it's been a long time, whole 24 hours since we last spoke. So I guess you must have missed me, right?
Gave us enough time.
All right. So I was just saying, I'm here tonight in Istanbul, and then you're there in Miami, and I was just going through the introduction. So maybe tell me a little bit about your backstory, where you're from, and how you got onto the path where you are now.
Yeah, so I've just been a little bit of a all-out entrepreneur since like very young age. When my parents got divorced, my mom ended up having to do some entrepreneurial endeavors and such. So I saw how hard she was like hustling. So I got a little bit of from my dad's side, the financial analytical side, then my mom's like creative social butterfly, figuring out what's going on. So at a very young age, I was able to just see opportunities, and I also wanted to make some extra money. My dad also taught me at the very beginning stages, when I wanted to have money or get an allowance, he would literally make us do work and sign a book, an accounting book and everything like that, of when we're taking money and put it almost like he was a bank. So he was teaching us at a very early age. He was an accountant, obviously. So he basically was teaching us from an early age. And I just started to figure out ways to make money, like selling CDs in the very beginning stages. I had a really cool story that basically I had gotten my hands on. I don't know how the hell I did that, but I had gotten my hands on the Marshall Mathers LP. This was before they became illegal. This was like in the beginning stages where it was like all out, like no one knew what the hell was going on. I got my hands on the CD like 2-3 weeks before it came out. So I made all these like songs. I went to Best Buy to buy the CD covers. I literally cut out like what I thought would be the album cover because there was no album cover yet. And then basically I put the songs probably all wrong, but it was the Marshall Mathers LP. So I take out my entire book bag. And let me repeat, the laws hadn't got into place yet, and I was a little kid, right? And basically, I put all the CDs into my book bag, and I took them to school, and I sold every single one. And it was so crazy that it was such an impact. The next day, it was like 50 kids were selling them, so much so that the principal had to get on the speaker and was like, "We know that people are selling CDs. You're not allowed to do this in school. So stop doing it on school grounds. Do it outside of school grounds." So I was like, holy smokes. That was my first instant of whoa, I could make a bunch of money and instead of hourly pay. It's that got me away from the hourly pay mentality to holy smokes, if I do things correctly, I could make a lot of money in a very short period of time. Imagine I don't know, I was ninth grade or something like that. So what could I do in the future? So that got my entrepreneurial. I was already trying a bunch of stuff and failed, but that got my mind going.
It sounds so much like the online world, you got slapped by the principal. It's just like getting slapped by Google or by Facebook or going to Facebook jail.
Yeah.
Your marketing went viral,
Exactly. It went viral. So much so that everyone in the school went and copied that same CD, probably got my CD. They bought my CDs and then they went and gave it to their friends and everyone was selling it. So much so that it was a nuisance to the school. So that was a fun little endeavor. And then I started doing eBay. Just selling stuff on eBay. Just generally, that was like really cool to me because I could sell like sneakers and car stuff and this and that, and it was just pretty fun. Um,
I'm laughing because you remind me of my own entrepreneurial journey, like starting out, 9, 10 years old. And initially, my dad told me to go knock on doors and offer to take out people's trash for tips. And then, that's when I started doing like door-to-door selling at like 8 years old, 9 years old. My dad, when we went to the arcade, my dad used to give us like 10 cents for doing push-ups. So if we do like 10 push-ups, we get a quarter for the video games.
Wow. No
Stuff like
way.
this. Yeah. And then a few years later, we actually started this company selling these Pogs. Do you know Pogs? Do you remember those?
Oh yeah, dude, I remember those. Yes, I do remember those.
So we'd sell 10 of those Pogs per dollar to like all the parents at our school. It was pretty funny.
Wow.
Just like you with your CDs.
Yeah. The early stages are fun, like the entrepreneurial spirit and figuring it out. A bunch of times before that, I tried selling baseball cards. I would just open up all the packs that didn't work out so well. Sell VHS tapes, mixes with CDs. And then, when they started being able to like put the cover, like a design on the covers, I did that, so a lot of failure, just trying out. I was just like, it was fun to me, it was like a new world. So I was willing to try it out. eBay thing was really cool. And I figured out how to make some money online. Then I got into, I actually had like a pet shop and I did it online. Also, that turned into like a much more substantial business later down the road. But like that's what got me into the entrepreneurial landscape. And then through time, actually I could show you guys really quick here. I could show you some. Let me go. Can I share my screen? Is that something I could do here?
Yeah, we can go to present. Do you see it on your side?
Yeah, I see it. Let's see if I can.
So under present, there should be an option to share your browser window.
There we go. All right. Here we go. All right, cool. Because I could show you, if I could here, I could just kind of like show you a little bit, given the background and such. Let's see, does that come up for you?
Yeah, I see the slides. Maybe we can make the full screen.
Yeah, is that better?
Yeah.
So little background, like obviously this takes me a little bit further down the road, but I started to really just love the entrepreneurial landscape. Also, I love speaking and teaching. So I love learning / also teaching a lot. So like that started to be one of my things. I got obsessed with reading and just figuring out technology, science, philosophy, the ancient teachings. That was something really big for me. And as time went on, I started launching these companies. I started to become more aware. I had a marketing agency. And then I started speaking at different conferences and masterminds and, different things like that. And it started to get a little bit fun. So on the left-hand side, that's just me like talking about, artificial intelligence. In the middle, there I am basically talking about one of the startups that we had. We got called up to the NASDAQ, which was super cool. On the right-hand side, that's just me basically adventuring out in the Patagonian mountains. And then another thing too, if you guys have seen it, I think this number is not even close to where it should be now, but I've been very early. So I've been very futuristic, if you want to call it. Some people call it a futurist. But I knew about Bitcoin at $2, and then at $200 and $500, I started screaming at the top of my lungs for people. And as you guys have seen, we just passed an all-time high. I think it was yesterday, as a matter of fact, with Bitcoin. Here I am talking about it in 2013, over a decade ago, right? And I was kind of known as that crazy guy at first, until like a lot of my predictions started coming true. And I think it's actually over 120x. Has actually gone since my prediction, and people made fun of me. And I've had over 30 companies, 4 exits on my 5th one right now, acquired a couple of companies. And basically, is that me just like stroking my ego and stuff like that? Like, no, that's just me. Basically, I've been through a lot, and I've also had a lot of, let's just say, failures also simultaneously. Important.
We have so much in common, though. I'm not a Bitcoin investor, but I will say that, and I've recommended this to a lot of people, that speaking is one of the best ways to level up in your career. No matter what your practice is, if you go out and you start speaking on a topic, that automatically positions you as an expert. You also gain confidence in what you're doing. Your clients gain confidence in you, and so much more. It's kind of like a growth hack, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah. It's big because like, just the people that you meet is incredible. So like whenever you start speaking at events and stuff like that, and believe it or not, I mean, it starts off really easy. Like for me, it's like it really just started to take off when I just started to put myself out there. I knew a little bit of something, and I know other friends of mine that they never thought they could speak. They got on a few panels. They look like they know what they're talking about. Obviously you got to know somewhat what you're talking about. To be honest, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. You get on some panels, really learn your modality, put it out there on social, let people know that you are, and then the people you meet are incredible. Then you start invited to really amazing events. I've been invited to like extremely high-end masterminds that I would have to pay. I mean, I have paid a lot of money for events. At first, I never really believed in paying for events. I was always like, why would someone pay for an event? That doesn't make any sense, And then like I started to realize, like when I started doing it, I'm like, oh my God, like I'm getting in the room with people that basically can help me make the timeline a lot shorter. And they might have one thing that has taken me 2 months to figure out. I can have a conversation with one person. So not only does speaking at events help you with that, it's like you get to speak about whatever it is that you do. You get to put your name and business out there, and it starts building a brand and reputation. So like, both speaking and attending these type of events and like, being part of communities, masterminds, for me, that's like a huge growth hack that like, without that, there's no way that I would have had more than 30 companies that I built on my own. It would be impossible.
Yeah. The networking, the exposure you get is just remarkable. I've always, suggested to people, especially digital nomads, this has been my strategy where I will contact co-working spaces when I'm traveling to a new city. So when I went to Dubai a few months ago, I did maybe 4 talks in Dubai. I contacted probably a dozen co-working spaces a couple weeks before I was going to travel there. Let me ask you, like, what's your strategy for being able to speak at these events? Like, do you do your own public relations, or how did you start out doing that?
I mean, realistically, it's just I've spoken at enough events and I post about it. And I post that, we also started doing our own events also, that people started to see. And I'm also so giving. I learned this from like a few of my friends. A really good one, I'll give a shout out to him, is Justin Wu. He's like a guy that just gives so much information. He also speaks at a lot of conferences, and like when I was first getting into like the crypto space and, like growth hacking, that's where I met him. I met him at a growth hacking conference actually, or event. And I realized he was just so giving. And it's like, for me, it's like, there's 2 things that happen when you're just giving out so much information. Like if you ever follow my Instagram, Rain in the Making with periods in between, like I'm just very giving. So it's like, I also, 2 things happen there. One, people are grateful, so they want to follow you. And I get a very, like, the people that do follow me, like I'm not those crazy influencers. I did have a crazy amount of believe it or not, Snapchat followers at one point in time. And I gave up on it because it was taking up so much time of my day and I didn't transfer them over. But then I gave so much value that even the small demographic that I have, I know for a fact that I'm getting more engagement, more views than people that have 20,000, 100,000 views and stuff like that. Like it's just the level of engagement, and people love when you give. So like, not only do I get perceived as an expert, but I'm giving people knowledge, supporting them, where it's almost to a due time. They're like, what do you help me buy something, because you're giving so much value. And then secondly, you learn when you teach. I learned that from Dr. Demartini, a guy that's read 40,000 books, probably one of the smartest people on the planet. He's like, whenever I learn, I teach. I learn, I teach. So I love to be able to do that. And I think that positions me as an expert. And I also post about the events that I speak at. So I'll make a dope video, like I kind of put the branding out there in a nice way. And especially like a lot of the video stuff that we do. Luckily, we have like a viral AI-based agency, one of our other companies, the Viral Gorilla. So I get to make these cool videos. And that to me has always been important. Even when I didn't have like the agency side, or I stopped doing the agency side stuff, it's like putting out really good material. So it's like, oh man, not only is he speaking at these things, he does really good events. So almost in a way, you'll be able to almost promote what they're doing also. So they will pick you over other speakers. And to be honest, it's gravitational. I don't really ask to get to speak at a lot of events. I get asked to speak at a lot of events. And I think it's because I've given so much value and such. Yeah.
Yeah. And you just touched on a growth hack that I guess I've been following this my whole life as well. Like, and maybe other people can pick up on it as well. You said that when you learn, you teach. And I remember I think it's the learning pyramid where it says that we retain 95% of what we teach. So as soon as you learn something, the best thing you can do is share something good with other people. And when you're able to build up like a community of peers like this, and you're sharing like your growth hacks with them, and they're sharing how they're making money with you, then you kind of just build everyone else up, like everyone around you. And that's kind of a great way to just like build your tribe of people, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's like a growth hack is like just building solid connections and supporting other people. Like one of the things that I've also been known for is just like I give a lot. So like I'm very giving without expectation of return. A lot of people, they like do stuff and like, they should be doing stuff for me. It's like literally a mindset shift of being supportive to others and being that person that people could count on. Making the connections, like I love being a super connector and connecting the right people. Obviously I do it a little bit more for people that are in my ecosystem, people in our community, whatever it is, but I do it on a general landscape where I'm like, these two people would be perfect to connect. You two should connect. And because I've done that so many times, like people will remember that. And to me, that's big without the expectation of return. You know what I mean? Like I don't go and do a favor for someone and then be like, they owe me something, later down the road. Now, that doesn't change the difference that like, hey, can we make money together by making the connections? I do that too, 100%. So like I find specific people where there is an alignment and I'm like, hey, actually, we should probably make some money together. I know a lot of people in this endeavor. You have something that you can provide. I have something I can provide. You have people in your network. Why don't we do a JV together? And JVs has been a way that we've done all kinds of stuff. All it took is like one of our webinars, like with some of our companies, we've done millions of dollars in affiliate launches. One of them was super simple, 60-minute. We did $120,000 in 60 minutes from a whim of just one connection that I literally thought was not going to make any money. Like I was like, all right, we might as well do a webinar. Boom, 120 grand in 60 minutes. So it's like, you never know because of the connections that you have, how something will land correctly. Especially if your vision is clear of where you're going, things will tend to fall into place correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. I've had, just like simple tips that I've gotten from, I had a travel blog that I started in like 2011, and these bloggers, like they don't make a lot of money with the blogs, but they know everything when it comes to marketing these blogs and like all the growth hacks and stuff. So I've had career changing moments where like somebody sent me the link of a software on Facebook or something like this. And I built like my growth hacking agency just because from that one tip, and I made like so much money just from that, or from one email, where it's like, we want to promote you to our newsletter. And then I made like, 6 figures from that partnership or something like that. So it's just amazing how like just these little things, these little relationships, or these little like tips that people give you can alter the course of your career. I'm fully embrace that and recognize the power of that. So let me ask you, because you've, according to your bio, you've built, it says $4 million brands in 4 years. Can you tell me a little bit about that? And would you say that was that a result of your relationship building strategies?
I think it's like 5 or even like 6 now. That's like probably like an older bio, and like you just got to add another 2-3 years on top of that. I would 100% say that is a result of my networks and stuff like that. For example, like one of the companies that we had we got funding into the company. I got 2 amazing partners into it. Was a result of literally 2 events and communities that I was part of. So literally like one of them, Stephen Georgie, one of my good friends, he was a business partner and such. We still do a bunch of stuff. I'm actually speaking at one of his events down here in Miami next week. He's one of the best copywriters in the world. Me and him met back in 2016 or something like that at basically a conference. I ended up staying friends with him. I went to his mastermind. We became even better friends. And then he wanted me to help out with one of his friends with consulting on an app. He found out about what I was doing, and he became a partner in one of our last masterminds / communities, which was called Legion. So he was like, that was directly proportionate to my connections, right? That was a connection. The other partner that I had was literally at another mastermind / group that I attended. And basically I met him and he had these really cool boxes because he was like a jeweler / does like these events and stuff like that. And boom, he came in, invested a lot of money into the company too. So because I was out there and networking and I kept these relationships, and by the way, these relationships, like it took Stefan, you never know, it's like 6-7 years before we did business together. Okay. And then the other guy was also like 4 or 5 years. So it's like, these things don't have to come to fruition right away. It's like you build these relationships and let them fall into place the way they do. And you just keep relationships alive. You know what I mean? Like just make sure that and if the more that you are going to these events, you get to connect with these people again. You know, like if you're part of a digital network, digital mastermind, or you're doing communities, or you're going to these conferences in your city, whatever it is, you start to build these relationships over time. And a lot of the good relationships or the good business partnerships or the good JVs, it's because you knew each other already. You don't just right away, not a lot of times you go right away into perfect business and synergy. That can happen, but sometimes it takes a little time. So I wouldn't even feel bad. Like if you're meeting these people and nothing's coming, it's just, it could take time. And a lot of my good relationships, it took time for something to come to fruition, something way bigger to come to fruition. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say that being an entrepreneur is generally a very lonely path. And I think that a lot of people are used to working on their product in silence, and people can be quite isolated. I remember Daniel Pink. I took his master class a couple of years ago. He's the author of a bunch of sales books, and he said that the best salespeople are kind of like ambiverts. They're not too introverted, but they're also not too extroverted. And I also think of it kind of like the maker schedule, manager schedule, where a lot of people would rather be on the maker schedule, where they're just kind of, building their idea, and they can spend like 4 years building this idea and they still don't have any customers for it yet. So I think that a lot of people maybe this comes naturally to you, like you are quite, this is the sea that you swim in, but what about someone who feels like they're plugging away on this entrepreneurial journey? They're like struggling to to be profitable,
yeah. Well, here's one of the things, like I believe also we're in a new time period, and this is why you see a lot of people getting into it. For example, like Alex Hormozy, that a lot of people love, a lot of young entrepreneurs love his work and how he started going hard on the content. He's the one that kind of like helped, like those short form reels go really viral. Now everyone's using them. Other people did it too, but he's just the one that helped it make more prominent. He invested in a company called School, and I believe it's very important to be part of a community or have people around you that you can see success. Okay, so I'll go back to 2016. In 2016, I had just gone down my e-com realm to figure out how things worked. I bought a course from Justin Siener. I didn't know, but there was a community involved. I didn't care about the community. I just wanted the 1, 2, 3, get it done and everything. I did it. I launched my Shopify store. It flunked, and I thought I was going to do amazing because I had a marketing agency. This was actually a company in the reptile industry that I had, and I was going to do all this great stuff. And my first day came out, thousands of sales were supposed to come through. It was 3 sales, 2 of them were my friends, and 1 person bought a coffee mug or something. I'm like, God. I was like, damn it. I was like, what am I doing wrong? And it took me 9 months to figure it out of straight failure. You know what I mean? I don't know, it was between 8 and 10 months of straight failing. But the thing that kept me alive is being around other and motivated, right? Because how many people get motivated that you're just losing freaking, for an entire 10 months long, 9 months. So what kept me motivated is that I was in a community. And because I was in that community, people were getting success. They didn't seem that much smarter than I was. So I was like, okay, other people are doing it, I could do it too. And then whenever I had a problem, ask the community, ask this person, so having that type of network was a huge thing. A lot of times also having a mentor. If I had to go back and do it all over again, 100% I'd be part of a community and have a mentor that has done it in that field, or has had the success. And I would actually listen to them, because one of the problems that I see too is that there's a lot of people that think they know it all. And if you think you know it all, and you know the direction and you're not willing to listen, and you're failing, Like I see that all the time. And like me as a mentor and as a person that helps and supports people, like if I go and I tell someone to do something and they ask me for information, they come back to me and they haven't done what I said, then they do it again. It's like, I don't want to discuss anything with this guy because they're not even listening to what I'm saying. So it's like being open-minded to the possibility, listening to those that know more than you, especially in your modality, or someone that has had the success. Like you got to get around those people. And also it's like, what do they say? The old saying that's like, everyone says all the time, you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around. So stop hanging around the people that aren't making it happen, or the family members that are saying that you can't do it. Like, I don't want to be around a family member that just talks about how it's not realistic and everything. It's like, okay, great. You're entitled to your opinion, but I don't have to be around you all the time. I want to be around the people that are doing big things and making the moves that I want to be. And soon enough, I'll be that person too.
So much of your success as an entrepreneur, I think, comes down to your ability to solve problems. How quickly and efficiently you can solve problems. And you just mentioned it there, like when you ran into an issue, you had a community that you could go to, you could consult with these people, you could get that thing fixed and then move on to the next thing, work on a bigger problem. And I feel like a lot of the unsuccessful people, they struggle with the same problems for months or for years. And that's the reason why they never really get ahead, right?
Yeah, no. A lot of people, they just like, to me, it's like when I was doing a lot of consulting back in the day, and people would bring me in to like help them with their business, figure out how to make money, business partnership not going right, whatever it is. One of the baseline issues that I see is the mindset too. A lot of people tend to beat themselves up, like they see the outcomes as negative, and switching around. I know it sounds so simple, but it is so important. It's like seeing these ideal scenarios happening and staying on track with that vision, no matter what is happening, because challenges are going to happen. And those challenges are going to be the learning lessons, but you have to stick to the plan and also just be sure they are. As long as you're optimizing, you're learning, you're getting yourself around those type of people, you're going to be in a better position. It's just that a lot of people tend to beat themselves up far too much, and like, why is it not working? What am I doing wrong? It's okay to ask those questions, but you can't get stuck in the monotony of it. And I see people do that. So all you're going to do is attract more of that negativity and such, kind of like I tell people this in the same way, because there's people that have that negative mindset. If you go to the atomic level, okay, and a neutron, if you have a neutron that has basically protons, like a positive charge particle around it, more of them, okay, it'll stay balanced in that way. If you have a neutron that has electrons, which is a negative charge, there's more electrons around it. What does it do? It attracts more electrons. So it literally attracts more negative charges. So I believe we're built the same way. So if we start only thinking down that negative path, just like atoms, we're going to attract more. What do they say? When it rains, it pours. You know what I mean? Like it's the mentality that gets us there. And the thing is, everything, and I'm not going to get too philosophical and everything like that here, but it's like everything has a positive side. So any scenario that happens, you can literally find the positive that comes out of it, the lesson that comes out of it. So if you're instantaneously finding, okay, why did this happen? Okay, there's a great thing that happened because this. I got to learn more about finance because I did a horrible job on, whatever it is here. Hey, I did this on this product. Okay, that lets me know that I'm one time shorter to find out what the winning product is going to be. And this is what I learned about it, and looking at it in that perspective starts taking you over to the positive side to make things happen.
Yeah, that's great. I think it was Napoleon Hill who said every failure has the seed of an equal or greater benefit.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like exactly what you just said.
Yeah. So exactly. Napoleon Hill, he knew he was learning from the great masters, and that's how they thought. So it's like, if we want to master our lives, we have to master ourselves. It's not we're not mastering. This is what people don't get. This is not about our business partnerships, the money we're making, the business structure, the economy. It's literally all self. And once you master self, then outside of it, you can create the reality that you want. So it's like mastery of self is for me, is the utmost highest. Yeah.
I remember an interview with John Paul DeJoria, the founder of Paul Mitchell and Patron Tequila. And back when he was early 20s, he was a single father. He had no money. He was like selling shampoos door to door out of the trunk of his car. And I remember in the interview, he said that he never like got despondent about his condition. He never like got depressed and said, why is this happening to me? He said that he always focused on what he had to do. That's where he put 100% of his focus. This is the next thing that I need to do. Not like focusing on existential questions about like, why is this happening to me? How did I get in this situation?
Yeah.
And also I'm reading this book. I think it's called The 5 and 10 Man. I think it's 5 and 10, The Fabulous Life of F.W. Woolworth, who founded Woolworth's department stores. And actually, he said that he failed at his first venture the first time he opened a store. I think he failed like the first 3 times he opened a store. And he was like thinking like, should I go back to my old job as a clerk, making $10 a week? This is the 19th century. And he realized, like, he looked at it objectively. He said, the reason I failed was not my idea. The idea is good. These 5 and 10 stores, 10-cent stores. I just didn't have the right location. If I go to this other city, I'll have a better location. And it turned out to be very, very successful. So it wasn't him. It wasn't the idea that he had. It was just one thing that was holding him back from that success, which I thought is very interesting.
Yeah, I think that reminds me of like 3 Feet from Gold, right? Like, like Greg Reed, I had him actually speak at one of our masterminds. He's like the new version of Napoleon Hill. He was kind of like handed the keys to the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And he actually spoke about that a lot. That's like, and that's why he wrote the book 3 Feet from Gold, is that a lot of people don't realize how close they are to success. Right. So it's like they don't realize, like, as long as you're very passionate, inspired by the mission, that this is going to work. All it takes is a good amount of optimization and different trying. And then all of a sudden, boom, that one time it's going to go. And a lot of people have been so close to success, but they give up. And then what they do is they just go and rebuild someone else and do it again and again and again. I have a bunch of friends like that they just are rebuilding stuff all the time. They never gain any good traction on the things that they did. Imagine me, if I had done that, I wouldn't have done $45 million in revenue in that single company and get acquired by a public company. I literally should have given up literally 2-3 times before I even got to a slight success, and even in the path, I had a whole bunch of things that happened also that were not ideal. You know what I mean? And like, if I had given up in the beginning, which most people would have, I would have never got there. But it really taught me lessons of like what not to do, learn the lessons, learn as much as I can until boom, I hit on something that was very specific and it was off to the races from there.
Yeah, that's great. And I think I'm looking back at my own career and I always think that there's always like one specific thing that I can point to in each business that I started, which was responsible for finally, breaking out with whether it's a growth hack or a piece of software or a connection that I had, which made me successful. Can I tell you about like my first time I ever growth hacked and this I haven't really shared.
I'd love to hear it because like I'm a growth hacker myself, so I'd love to hear.
Well, I was actually in university and my friend and I we joined this dating website together. It was POF.com. Do you know POF, Plenty of Fish, Jonathan?
Yes. I've heard of it. I may have been on it back in the days. I may have been on it.
We heard all of these bad things. It was just like Tinder, had like a seedy reputation. And I was like, all right, well, I don't have the patience or time like to message all of these girls, like this is boring. So I downloaded like this extension. It's called like iMacro. And basically it just records what you do on your screen. So I was like, let's just record the meet me, we'll click yes. And then we'll just loop this like 1,000 times or something like this. So we had it playing like overnight on our browser. And that was on a Sunday night. I remember that I was like 21 or something. And then I wake up the next day and I have like 300 messages in my inbox. So,
you're like, whoa, you must have been like, whoa, what the world? Like I just hacked the process.
That was the first time that I fell in love with growth hacking, Jonathan. And so that was like the first experiment. So
that's so awesome. That's so awesome. That was early. Like I don't even know. I wasn't aware of any of that stuff around that time back in the days. Like, you know what I mean? That was like an early growth hack for real.
So even today, like I love discovering these things, because these are the things where you have like a long enough lever that you can move the whole world basically. And with Tinder, for example, I know that I don't use Tinder, but they have an extension that does something very similar to this, like just swiping and sending messages to people.
Yeah.
and you don't have to
Now
actually
with
do the math.
AI, their full-fledged conversations are happening with that person and getting them, okay, this is a person that you should talk to out of the 100 messages.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so there's this extension, I think it's called Swiperino, which will like it's like a Tinder bot that'll just basically manage your Tinder for you. So I can think of, like, looking at my career, like it's always like one thing that growth hack, that secret advantage, that really helped me to break out and be successful. So looking at you, like your 5 companies that were successful, could you point to, like, what was the one like growth hack that really helped you to go from 0 to 7 figures?
Yeah, it's funny. I've been looking at it. I lost a lot of my net worth in the last couple of years in different things, and I've had my huge spikes, made so much money I didn't know what to do with, lost so much money. So I've been to like the ups and the downs so much that I was reflecting before, and I'm like, okay, what was the thing that was happening when I was succeeding, and what was happening, when I was basically going down. And one of the things that was very clear was like how I felt about myself and how I was feeling like a winner. And it was also easy. Because the times where I make it hard and I'm trying to push myself like far too much, that doesn't mean that you can't work hard and do your diligence and stuff like that. But it is going back to the mindset. And I wouldn't even call it mindset. I would call it a beingness. So it's almost like a beingness of being successful. So if you look at the really uber rich, right, that they hang out in Palm Beach, West Palm Beach, Dubai, a lot of these people, they don't do a lot. They hang out, playing golf, going to dinners and stuff like that. It's just who they are, though, right? So they get to observe from a distance, and they're so present and aware that presence and awareness and clarity of what they're doing. Another big thing too is like when I was seesawing and I wasn't 100% sure what I was doing. If I was like, oh, I'm kind of in and out, I'm not sure if I want to stop this business or do it. But when I'm like all in, this is what I'm doing. I'm not freaking messing around with different modalities and different things that I'm trying to do in different businesses and everything like that. Like that to me also was like a great prominence to like get me to the next location. And then obviously just being around the right people, that's a big thing, like being around the right people, having the right mentors. I love actually also going to different conferences. I'm more of a person that likes communities / masterminds, because masterminds tend to be a little bit smaller and little city meetups. But it's like learning from the people out there and then making your own sovereign decision, right? I talk about sovereignty a lot, and I think it's very important, is that you know yourself deep down intuitively, and you don't allow the values of others to weigh down upon you. Now, you can learn from them, and especially if it's something that someone else knows a lot more than you do. Like, for example, if you're trying to make more money through a business, and you've only done, let's say, $20,000 in business, listen to the guy that's made $250,000, the guy that's made $1 million. You know what I mean? Like, you want to listen to those individuals because they've done it already. And for me, that's like a fast way to be able to get back up and make things roll. Is just working on thyself. Pushing the envelope with, a lot of, I like the philosophical, a lot of the personal development stuff, you know what I mean? Like, it's good, but there comes a time where it could be too much, and you need to just go and get your hands dirty and get stuff going and get very clear with where it is that you want to go. Because the thing is, the vision needs to be clear, but the details will work themselves out, as in the details won't matter as much. And you can't be stuck on a notion like, this is how it has to happen. No, this is where I'm going, and I'm okay with how it happens. And I think that's important.
When you work with some of these major brands such as Audi and Maserati and some of these other Fortune 500 companies, I see that you've also worked with the Secretary of Defense of Mexico. Did you have an intention to go out and build these relationships, or was it just kind of like happen?
To be honest, it just happened. It just kind of, to be honest, like there was zero intention, like zero, like literally, like the opportunities just presented themselves. Like it just happened just from like me putting myself out there and people knowing my skill set was high, and I'm getting presented these opportunities. So I just did such a good job. I had a marketing agency, and I was just doing such a good job for people, putting myself out there, showing people what I was doing. the opportunities came to me. So I think it's important too to just put yourself out there with what it is that you're doing and everything like that, whatever modality, and put yourself on social, on your stories, go to these events, talk to people. And little by little, as long as you're a good-hearted person, you're also giving to a lot of people, these opportunities start presenting themselves in a great way. So it's like just being clear in the direction of where you want to go and then doing it. But like, to be honest, like, I don't think I was trying to work with any of these companies. It literally was just opportunities that popped up for me, like networking or a friend of a friend. Hey, by the way, like, I'm working with the Secretary of Defense of Mexico now, and we're looking for some reputation management and some other. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, hell yeah, let me try this out. I'm probably not qualified for this, but let's do this. And literally, I got the job over some huge other companies and such because, like, I put a lot of attention and intention into what I did, and I got very creative. It was kind of like a little bit of a growth hack getting that job too. So, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, as I say, creating luck is when preparation meets opportunity, and that's how you attract these opportunities to you. I do remember when I made quite a good chunk of cash with AppSumo, and I think they just found me through one of my books on Amazon and sent me an email one day. I was actually in Nepal at the time. I remember it because I was doing a video call with them. And I think it was just a matter of like putting all the right keywords on my my book profile, my book page, so that they were able to find me and like contact me and my contact information. So, like putting this content out there, like help people to find me and to bring this opportunity to me. And I want to ask you, like, so if you were, starting over from scratch, which you have done several times in your life, like knowing like knowing everything that you know now, what's the game plan? What's the plan of attack?
Yeah, I mean, well, first and foremost, I get clear with the type of people I want to work with. Get very clear with, what is something I would have fun doing. Secondly, where are the big opportunities? You know what I mean? Like, obviously right now, a big one is artificial intelligence. I'm also a big believer in, developing and building conscious leaders of the future, which means I have to be a conscious leader myself. I can't speak about this if I'm not a conscious leader, and for those that don't know what a conscious leader is, just someone that leads from the heart. They're very sovereign. They want to help people out. They want to help out humanity as a whole. They're very more integrated. They're not as judgmental, you know what I mean? That they want to help. They're not there to make other people lose. Like, they want to cause win-win scenarios all around them, which is big. Dr. DeMartini talks about this a lot. So like getting that foundation very clear, and then what can I build that is inspiring, that I will be proud to build? Because I think one of the biggest things that people make mistakes on, like one of my friends actually one time, he was in e-com, and I was like a e-com guy that a lot of people respected because I would tell people how I did it and how I succeeded, how I failed. I told both sides. And he was like, Jonathan, I don't know what's going on. My e-com store is not working, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right, show me your e-com store. Okay, there's a huge football player that was in the NFL, or like, like, I don't know how many seasons he was in the NFL, huge guy, obviously very masculine, strong dude. And he has a yoga e-com store, yoga pants. And I'm like, do you just like yoga pants on women, or like what's the deal here? He's like, not really. He's like, I think he was married or whatever it was. He honestly didn't care. And I'm like, why would you have? I'm like, are you going to go and show all your football buddies like this store? And he's like, no. I'm like, then why do you have that? He's like, oh, because I thought I was going to make money. And to me, I'm like, nah, that's not the way. The thing is, like, you have to do something that is inspiring, that you can be proud of, that you could talk to your friends about, that you could literally show off online. And I think that's like a big component to do it in that manner. And then also getting around those people. So right away, I'd want to get around as many people that are, once I get clear on those things and what I'm here to do, big picture, what are the things that I could do in the meantime, get myself out there and get exposure to digital communities, local city meetups. There's meetups all the time. Like, what is it? Eventbrite? Like, you could just find a whole bunch of those just on Eventbrite. That a lot of them are free. A lot of city meetups, depending where you're at. There's a lot of like things that happen on Facebook and, these different platforms online. You can find a bunch of stuff. So it's like, just scouring a little bit of that type of stuff, but getting around those people that are doing, once you're like, okay, I like this direction. Oh, I would love to start an e-com store. Oh, I would love to get into artificial intelligence. Oh, I would love to, do affiliate marketing, whatever it is. There's so many ways to make money now. It's not even funny. It's like, okay, find the experts now. Find the people you can congregate around it and just be around them. Literally just be around those people. And by default, you will start to figure out how this stuff works.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I think that so much of, like we said earlier, so much of attracting opportunity to you comes down to being in the right location, being around where all the action is happening.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Big
like
time.
yeah, like talk about FW Woolworth, just not being having the store in the right location, or
Yeah.
if and maybe one of the reasons why I went to Dubai for like 2 months was just to build these opportunities, to network and build a lot of these relationships. So just being around where all the action is happening can make a big difference.
Huge difference.
Um,
Huge difference.
as,
Yeah.
as far as since your work with the collective is all about like creating an AI growth hacking community, and you've interviewed a lot of experts for your community, what do you see as the biggest opportunity with AI right now?
Yeah, so those that don't know, like I was in a public company. I stepped down, sold one of my other companies to go all in with AI. Why would I do that? First of all, I've been talking about exponential technologies for a long time. I knew how important AI was, and I worked on AI stuff before the launch of ChatGPT. But when ChatGPT came out, it just came as a surprise, even for me that I've been way ahead of time a lot of times. And it came as a surprise with what was possible. And I knew like a huge entrance by the opportunists, by the marketers, by the companies that can now initiate this technology in a better way. They're going to be forced to because it's going to move so fast. So for me, it was like I wanted to go all in with AI because I needed to learn everything about it. And the biggest opportunity for AI is really just to get started and start. I call it becoming AI enhanced. And if you become AI enhanced, that within itself is a huge component on being able to, let's just say, figure out how to 2 to 3, for example, myself, at least I'm 2 to 300% more efficient than I was just a year and change ago. Like that's crazy. Like I've doubled and tripled myself with the amount of things that I could do. Like it's insane. Like I was creating a proposal with something that would have taken me super long with just one piece of it from another proposal. And basically, like all I did is give it the context. You got to know how to speak to these things. So like the biggest thing is like learning how to use these things to a high degree and being around them, because the problem that I'm seeing now with a lot of people, there's, first of all, the amount of people that are using it are very small. It's like on a daily basis, it's only 20% of, the age demographic of like 30 to 44, or 19%. Weekly, it's like, it's like 40 something percent. So the amount of people actually using it is still pretty significantly low in the USA. So outside the United States, it's way less because we're usually way more ahead than everyone else. So the numbers are way less than that. So it's like getting in depth, learning how to speak to these AIs and the different tools. It's not just ChatGPT. There's literally hundreds of good tools, thousands of okay tools, and there's millions. That's not a joke. Like literally, there's millions, if you consider GPTs too, millions of apps that are probably bullshit. That really are like not the best thing that you could get. So it's like, I think it's very important to basically find out how this can work, because like too many people discount it, and it is literally impactful to everyone. Like I can't think of some type of, other than the bricklayer, but even if he's a bricklayer and there's ways that he does other things in his life, it's like so beneficial to you. And just knowing that, because it's like I don't even use Google now. I just use AIs. Like I don't want to use Google anymore. So it's like if you're still using Google, you're literally way behind. So like getting in there, I think is the big thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting point that you made. I remember listening to Marissa Peer. She's a hypnotherapist, and she says that people don't have a comfort zone so much as they have a familiarity zone. And people would rather like go to their grave exactly as they are than be forced to change or to change what they're doing. And I've heard of like stories of like programmers, who are, they have like one specialty like JavaScript or some coding specialty, and they're obsolete now because it's all about these new coding languages, and the guy's like 45 years old. He's like, how am I going to learn like a new coding language or something like this? So that's one of the things that I think a lot of people are struggling with is being able to adapt and to change their processes. I think that's why people are not being able to adapt to the extent that they should be. right?
Oh yeah. And here's the thing, based on what you just said, change is imminent. It's coming faster than anyone can imagine. And this is why I'm such a big proponent, like going back to the consciousness thing. It's like, the more present and aware you are and the more you work on yourself, the better you'll do in the future, because too much is going to happen too fast. Significant change is going to be happening in a way that we've never seen before because of the exponential change of artificial intelligence. So like you want to be able to, a little bit of like evolution of self, meaning that you learn how to be more present and out of the mind, because people think the mind is the all in being, be mindful and all these things. But it's like the great ancients, they all knew very well, and some of the greatest people on the planet, they knew the level of presence that was needed. Even this guy right here, Albert Einstein. Okay, he used to like take naps and stuff to come up with some of his ideas, so he goes into an unconscious/conscious state. Benjamin Franklin used to do the same thing. Thomas Edison used to literally go into like a meditational state. He used to hold this bar, and he would go into a meditational / almost sleep state. And then every time he fell asleep, the bar would fall and he would wake back up. And that's how he's coming up with all these great ideas. So people forget, it's like that level of presence is highly needed. And that level of presence allows us to be very highly adaptive and observing the environment instead of in the mind and just thinking like crazy. And that gives you anxiety and freaking doesn't work out as well. We've been taught that it's the way to go. It's completely false. It's completely false. And if you study the great masters and everything like that, that's not how it works. Yeah.
So let me ask you, because you've spent so much of your entrepreneurial journey building up this community. You have the collective. You offer kind of like this community aspect to people who sign up for that. What are some of the and you're obviously like absorbing all of this the great thinking from all these people in your mastermind. What are some of like the can you give us like some examples of things that you've learned from that community, or maybe like some of the success stories that people have had that you've met, like how people are crushing it right now with AI, for example, or like making money with using AI?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, like AI in the technical strategic side by far is the most advantageous. Okay, like by far. And when I say that, it's because it's also exponential. So like some of the things that we've seen already happen in the community, like there was one gentleman that basically had his regular job the year prior to him coming on into the community and such like that. He literally had a great job, making good money, corporate and stuff like that. In his first 2 months, from him learning and being a little obsessed with what's happening, he literally made a quarter in the first 2 months, made a quarter of what he did the year before. And this was like a side gig. And it was like type of consulting and teaching people how to use some of these AI tools, which again is very simple. Some of these tools are very simple. One of our other members, she started a GPT maker. If you guys don't know what a GPT is basically you can create your own AI apps easy. And I'm talking about anyone can do it. I even have a video of me teaching and going through it with my 9-year-old nephew. Okay, 9-year-old nephew created his own video game AI app. Literally, I think it was like 20-30 minute video or something like that. It's because we were playing around with it. It was super fun. Literally, and people have already started using it. So you can literally create GPTs, and that is a service within itself. We've been talking about how we want to create a master class teaching people that type of stuff, which is also, something that our community members get so that they could create their own AI apps, so like how many people in the past have wished that they could build an app? And here's the thing, because AI moves exponentially, these apps and these GPTs are only going to get insanely better. When I say insanely better, I mean insanely better, and it's going to move fast. So those that are already getting into it, they can do all kinds of stuff. You can create a customer service rep, onboarding rep. You could, download your favorite books and then have them at the disposal to teach people something. You know what I mean? Like you could literally connect to the real world and have live crypto trading. You can see live data. Hey, what is Bitcoin at right now? Where was it at in 5 hours from now? Like you'll be talking to these AIs in a much different way. And anyone now, not a programmer, even the CEO of NVIDIA, if you guys know NVIDIA, that just had the huge day, they literally made, I think, 267 billion in a day, which was more than the value of Netflix in a single day because AI is taken off. He's like, don't teach your kids programming. Everyone's telling them to teach them AI so that they know how they can build these things, because the AIs and the humans will be the programmers, not programmers. Just regular humans will be able to build whatever they do. So it's like whatever is possible is now possible. And there's many modalities and little things that you can do to make money in that field, especially because there's still such a small portion of the population. I think I was even seeing an article that people that are AI enabled are getting 41% more money in a job because they are. And now some employers, we have a couple of people that are headhunters and they get jobs and stuff. Employees are only looking for people that are AI enhanced. So the pool is very small. So that's why they're demanding so much more money, because there's so much more of an advantage to an organization. So imagine as an entrepreneur, knowing AI, you're way ahead of any entrepreneur. I personally, if someone was not fully into AI or fully wanting to go into AI to come into my organization, I don't care how good they are. I would not have them in the organization. Yeah.
As long as they have the willingness to learn, that's the most important thing, right?
That's exactly. They're willing is different. Exactly.
Can I ask you, with those tools, like you mentioned that kid that built that GPT, what is this just with Chat GPT, or do they use like?
Yeah, so this is actually through OpenAI, and some of the connection points, like you could literally do it through OpenAI directly, and then we just happen to have like 5 videos that kind of like teach you like how to do it. It's way easier than people think, and you can literally create these in 10 minutes. Like, it's not a joke. Like, this is something, and the crazy part about it, I was telling someone, you could probably charge clients for some of these that you can make in less than an hour. You could probably charge clients $2,000, $5,000, $10,000. It's just, you don't want to. I personally would not do that because I wouldn't feel good about doing it. But I think that, an opportunity out there is to be able to get people to learn how to make these, and like, again, also like AI service-based stuff, like going into an agency or going to social media companies or going to small businesses and be like, hey, here's how to use all these tools. Hey, here's what you can do to basically make your stuff easier. Hey, here's how basically you can do, for example, AI calling agents are really big right now too. Like, where you can literally, if you're doing lots of outbound calls, inbound calls that are monotonous and stuff, you literally have agents that literally sound better than humans, other than a mini lag. And that's going to be fixed very soon. It's just more compute, it's basically more power. That's happening because 4 or 5 months ago, it was horrible. I was like, oh my God, now it's so good that I'm like, oh my God, what is it going to look like in 6 months? Crazy.
Yeah. So one of your superpowers is, I think, media buying and scaling your marketing through like paid marketing. So if you were to build one of these tools, or you were consulting with someone who built one of these tools, and they needed to get 1,000 users, 10,000 users, 100,000 users, what would you recommend to them?
So like first and foremost, have something that is pretty useful. All right. Like make sure you have something that's really useful. Get really good at like making a landing page like functional. Like, look at what's working, or people that sell a lot of stuff. Like, look at ClickFunnels and the people that have done a lot of stuff. They give a lot of like examples and such. That's called funnel hacking, right? Which is definitely a growth hacking type of thing, where it's like you see what's working out there, find out what's working, do a similar model like them, and then basically getting out there and getting use cases in the beginning, getting a lot of feedback, like get a lot of feedback from those using them in the beginning stages. And then from there, you could run ads on Facebook or Instagram, that show exactly what's happening. You can get videos done on Fiverr, Upwork. Many different people are doing it. It's so much cheaper too. You can do reels. I like doing reels and stuff. Reels are pretty cool. You could run those on the internet because people are tearing up these like reels and TikToks and stuff. That's something that like so much consumption is done. And then basically do something like guerrilla marketing style, right? Like, the reason I call my agency the Viral Guerrilla is because I think guerrilla marketing is the way of the future, because you have to get people's attention in a sea of so many things going on. So the more that you get creative with your ideas to be able to get seen, that helps. And then just have more and more people use it, people in your circles, whatever it is, and then see the use, see what they would make better. Hear that feedback. Don't go off 1 or 2 people's feedback. If you hear a few people saying the same thing, boom, optimize. You're optimizing till you have a product that they're like, holy smokes, this is freaking amazing. And then we're going to tell a friend, and they're going to tell another friend. Like OpenAI didn't go to a massive marketing campaign. They just had a sick, incredible, they already had a little bit of following, right? So if you're known for doing stuff, they had a little bit of following, but it went viral on its own because people just were like, holy smokes, this product is incredible. So just having a really good product, but not getting stuck in the monotony of making it perfect either. I'm a big fan of just like launching stuff also and then optimizing as you go.
Awesome. Yeah. So, and you mentioned getting a lot of feedback. So even like asking your customers, what do you think about this, or how did you find this? And like, maybe giving them surveys, like satisfaction surveys, trying to iterate and optimize the whole process as you go, right, and get better and better.
Yeah, exactly, 100%, 100%. Like, I think that's important because like we had to optimize like crazy, and that's what I was doing with the companies that have scaled. Is just like I was figuring out like not everything went viral or sold right away. I had to work on it, refine it, try new things, like in order to make it happen. And that was because of like, and then you get more clear in whatever it is that you're doing. Even in AI right now, I'm getting way more clear what people actually want, what is actually useful, what is going to make an impact versus when I first got into it. Like now I'm way more clear what can have significant impact fast. A year ago, it's like I'm still trying to figure it out. So it took a long time to start figuring out how these things work. So that's why it's good to get in the game and to get around those people that are actually doing it. Hence why communities are freaking amazing, because you see people succeeding, like, oh, he's doing it. What's he doing? Hey, talk to me. How did you get that success? What app did you use? How did you do it? Can you show me? And stuff like that. Yeah.
From the outside, it looks like you know what you're doing, but from the inside, it's like every day is like the first day of school.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to be willing, like me, like I probably take more notes than other people. I could be like one of the more successful people at an event, and I'll be the one that's taking more notes, listening more intently, and literally sometimes hitting up my team or my business partner, be like, yo, try this out. Hey, do this. Boom. Like I'm in the game. I don't just think I know everything. I'm the eternal learner, and I'm always seeking to do better.
I'm so glad that we have ChatGPT to help us answer a lot of these questions as well, because I feel like a retard sometimes with like trying to set up a live stream, for example. I have to ask like ChatGPT, okay, what do I click on? Like, where do I go to? So it's like it's definitely humbling, but that's how it is.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to those out there watching this, and what would you want them to take from this?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest advice is that, guys, we are in a new age of abundance. It's also a big time of mass change. There will be a lot of displacement. A lot of jobs are going to have to significantly change. A lot of jobs will be automated. So it's important to do what is very inspiring, something that you're going to enjoy doing. And figure out how you can use AI to level it up and get around those people that, that are doing it, what you want to do, or, those people that are getting success, so that you yourself can basically do these things in a lot faster. And don't be scared to get out there. A lot of us are very antisocial. We don't want to be around people sometimes, and we just like the online space and stuff. But sometimes it's like taking that leap. What's the worst that could happen? We're scared of the outcome, or the people won't receive us and everything. But it's like, once you do it a few times, it doesn't matter. So it's like, what is the consequence of it? That you're going to feel bad? That's just a feeling that is false. It's like, who cares? Like if someone denies you or if you're asking someone the question, worse is that they deny you. Go find another person, find out why that person denied you, and figure like, okay, let me try something different this time. And like, it doesn't matter. And once you get used to that, you get into a power position and then basically go after your dreams, like those things like that, like really do it. And then I talk to everyone about this. It's like evolution of self, work on yourself, get into AI, like hardcore, get into AI, because right now, like it is literally going to change the dynamic, and it compounds over time. It compounds. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You reminded me of one turning point in my career where I was living in Bangkok. It was maybe like 2014, 2015, and I was just publishing books on Amazon. Maybe making like $100 a month, not really making much money with these ebooks. And I was just so fed up. I watched this interview with this guy, Benny Lewis, I think that's his name. He's got this channel, Fluent in 3 months. So he teaches people like new languages. And they asked him, what's your best language learning advice? And he said, fail 200 times a day. And I thought, okay, that's exactly what I'm going to do. If I'm going to like not be successful at selling these ebooks, I'm just going to keep failing until something works. I'm going to try and commit to failing 200 times a day. And I think that's very similar to what you just said. Like, if somebody says, I'm not interested, then move on to the next person. It's not a big deal. You haven't lost anything, and you have to reach enough people to get, if you reach 200 people, maybe you'll get 5 sales, and that's enough to live off of, So
yeah. And with AI, if you're 2, 3, 4, 5xing yourself, you can fail a lot more times and
Yeah.
get more further out, right?
But I think a lot of people from the outside, they don't realize this. And so they're not willing to make those 200 attempts. Or, as entrepreneurs, like, some entrepreneurs, they're not allowed to talk to their customers at all because their identity is so tied to the business. Their own ego is so tied to their product or whatever, that if someone doesn't like it, then they take it as like a personal affront to them, and they take it personally. So it's a difficult thing for entrepreneurs, I think.
Yeah. Oh, 100%, 100%. A lot of people can't take basically failure or, like all the different things that happen. They can't take it. They're not willing to be able to have a time that is not going to be ideal. And guess what? Entrepreneurship is all about that. You're going to have to fail many times and go through the challenges and be able to overcome them. And that's what makes a great entrepreneur, overcoming and getting back up from everything that they basically, get hit down off their high horse sometimes.
So if someone wants to get more from this relationship with you and, get more value from you and as they grow their career, what can they do like after this interview? Can you give me the next steps here?
Yeah. So I would say one of the best things to get in contact with me is like, if someone wants to learn, let me see if I can pull something up. If someone wants to learn about, let's just say if they want to learn more about like what it is that we're up to, there's a phone number that you guys can literally text and just put learn more. Like if you want to learn about, our community, the collective, if you want to learn more about like what it is that we're doing with AI, and if you just want to send it out, I'll give you guys a phone number. And then what I'll do too is I'm going to offer up like a spot of our community to get in. It's usually $2,200 a year to come in, and then it's $247 a month. But for people that are listening on this one, and because me and Danny are also doing some JVs and we're like, hey, we're going to help each other out, two growth hackers that love AI, love business, love growth. We love traveling. We love these events and stuff because he's doing them overseas. I'm doing them here in the United States. Hopefully we're going to be linking up also, is that we're going to do it for like $97. And then that one is like, I don't know if we could put it here or where it could be, or it'll be in the chat, and it'll be a bit.ly.growth. What is it? Growth hacking 150. So it takes $150 off for only $97, which also has a 30-day guarantee. So you could come into the community, you could be access to the academies, access to a chat group with other people. We have 25 members right now. Gives you access to all these cool AI tools and basically takes you to a whole different level. You know what I mean? And like gives you access to these different events that we do also. Obviously there's much more to it at the end of the day, but it's like for $97, 100% money back guarantee, meaning if you don't like it, basically you do it. And most likely if it's like anytime soon, like you'll either get onboarded by myself or someone else. And, back in the days, I was doing consulting for thousands of dollars. So it's like you get to have a conversation a little bit about your business, where you're trying to head by myself or by one of my co-founders, which are very successful entrepreneurs, which doesn't happen just because we are building something special. And in the beginning stages, that's what you got to do. As an entrepreneur, you got to put in that work and everything like that. So that's one. And I'm sure that'll be in the description, I'm guessing, Danny, and such like that.
Yeah. We'll
and
put
then
the link and the discount code in the description of this video. So go ahead and check that out. And it sounds like a great value that you put together for people and just the connections that they can make. Tell me about some of the people that are in this community.
Oh yeah, I mean, so we have actually like incredible people, all the way from people that kind of don't know what's going on and like, maybe in the corporate space, single entrepreneurs that are trying to make it, all the way to extremely successful, multi-billion-dollar funds are inside of it. We have the chairman of the crypto task force inside of it. We have Stephen Georgi, one of my really good friends. He's one of the best copywriters in the world, especially with artificial intelligence. We have different startups in there. Jeff Hunter, one of my really good friends, he's also made, because of the community, he made a $150,000 contract, $10,000 deal, I think a $20,000 deal. He's made money just from people in the community itself. And he's teaching on all this stuff. And he was basically at a staffing company. He still has a staffing company, and he's now AI enhanced the entire staffing company. His company has never been booming more than when he switched all in to artificial intelligence. And then from there, like we have basically people that own social media agencies, like other probably people inside of real estate. There's like amazing people that are making big moves, all the way to the people that are just trying to figure it out, from all different modalities, like agency owners, marketing agency owners, entrepreneurs that are doing e-commerce, big affiliate marketers and such like that. So it's like 120 of us that literally are there to help each other support as a hive mind. And that's what I thought. What's interesting is like when I saw the AI stuff, I'm like, okay, I want to build technology. That's something I'm going to be doing. I've been building technologies for a long time. But I'm like, what will be beneficial in a world where things are moving so fast? So I was like, okay, why not forget tools, forget the course, forget the thing that you got to build and stuff like that. I'm like, things will move so fast. Why not have a segment of people around you that can support you on your, mindset, on the things that need to be done, your consulting, what's working, what's not working, because things are moving far too fast. And then literally within the community, we have basically academies that teach you step by step all the things that you need to learn to get yourself out there. And also another thing, Danny, and I don't know if this is something we can edit into the future, we're going to be having a 7-day AI mastery challenge. Okay. So like, hopefully, I don't know if you can edit it or you can send it out later and such like that, Danny, but basically it's going to be an insane challenge. We're soft launching next week. So either by next week or the week after, the links will be going out, and it's like going to be incredible. We're going to be a challenge to teach people literally the basics and the most important things that you could get your level 1 of your AI mastery to learn and be ahead of the curve. Literally by the time you're done, you're already stepped up to another degree. So like, that's something I'm going to be obviously sharing with you, Danny, and such like that. Yeah.
Excellent. The 7-day AI challenge. And this just seems like a shortcut to get access to this incredible network that you've built here of these, like-minded, successful entrepreneurs who are in the trenches. They got their skin in the game. And like you said, it pays for itself when you work with some of these people. So I think that's a tremendous value that you put together for everyone, Jonathan. So thank you.
Yeah, 100%, brother. Like, I always appreciate having conversations. We have fun doing it. And, I want to definitely be doing stuff with you like into the future, because it's a fast moving future and you got to have people that really see what's happening, because things are going to start going way more exponential in the next year or two. So I look forward to it.
Thank you for your time, Jonathan. We've been joined by Jonathan Foltz. He's the founder of The Collective. Go check out his website, thecollective.xyz. We'll also have links in the show notes description where you can check out all of his amazing things that he's got going on. So thank you again, Jonathan.
No, I appreciate it, brother. You have a great one. Enjoy yourself over there. And thanks, everyone. Any questions that you have, hit me up. Also, I think Instagram too, Rain in the Making with periods in between. You could even send me messages there, and pay attention to Danny. Danny's badass. I appreciate, everything that you do. And even because he came and taught some people in our community and he was just dropping bombs. So you're following this guy because he's one of those mentors that you guys need. Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, Jonathan. Take care.
Take it easy. Thank you. Bye-bye.